from where you at. I came here for vengeance, watch your back. No need to defend, I'm on attack. Sorry they can't reply, but I guarantee they had a blast. Pop, 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 I be on the next only, yeah, I am fresh to death.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Long Haul Mentality. I am your host, as always, Nick Bagley, and this week I got a close homie of mine, Neto, on. How are you, bro?
I'm good. Thank you so much for inviting me, Nick.
Yeah,
I'm
dude.
super happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you on, man. We've been friends for a long time, and I've been really excited to see how much progress you've been making as far as like coaching is concerned. It's something I've talked about with a number of different people, and like you and Pam are just some of the best people that I have ever met. And I love to see both of you guys succeeding and doing really well, man. So just want to say that.
Thank you so much, man. It goes both ways.
Yeah. I appreciate that a lot, dude. You've always been very supportive. But how's right now you're done competing, correct? You're not going to be competing anymore?
Yeah, man. I mean, I would like to do like another show, but to be honest, Nick, I feel like my athletes can do so much better than me.
We're in
I
the same boat.
yeah, I guess I have this feeling as well.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I can maybe win like an overall show in like 3 years.
Yeah.
But I have people with me that can turn pro in 1 year. So
Yep.
why focus on me? You know?
Agreed. Yeah, I've got. I'm in the same exact boat, and like you're shorter than I am. So like my biggest thing is like, man, for me to be as big as I needed to be in open bodybuilding, like it just was going to be a number of more years, and like why? Like I have other things I can focus on, and
I mean, when I see like one athlete of mine like competing, I get happier than when I'm on stage
agreed.
myself. So
Agreed.
we can be happy at the backstage.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I'd rather see them succeeding anyways. But I mean,
Yeah.
it's funny because like watching like a lot of people obviously just competed here in the area at Texas Pro and the amateur and stuff, and watching our friends get on stage, whether they're pros or amateurs, I'm sitting here going like, damn, I want to do that again.
Yeah.
And like, I look at,
I have this feeling like they each like to compete, especially because we have like so much friends like at the gym, and we have someone competing. You see like everyone rooting for them, support them. So it's like, oh man, it could be me.
Yeah. That's why I'm doing this 12-week cut right now. Is like I need to do something that'll make me feel like I'm making progress right now. So, but I have to say that like you look awesome, man. Like you've been doing a great job of maintaining a really good physique while not trying to get on stage.
Yeah, I mean like I tried to do jiu-jitsu in the beginning of the year, like December, January, but I was missing the ways. You
Yeah.
know, I was missing like two lift ways. I was like, man, I guess I'll just like have a decent condition so I can walk around, especially because I was like weighing 220, and if I had like one meal off, I
You
was
just
like,
plummet.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, okay, so let's bring it down so I can celebrate with my clients. I can have some meals here and there, and still keeping like a decent condition, and
Yep.
that's what I did. And I would say I'm like holding the physique for the last 3 months.
Yeah, you've been doing great, man. Like I'm always jealous of your shoulders, the way your shoulders cap out. Like I don't have shoulders that like sit out really far. So every time I see somebody that has them, I'm like, I want those.
We always want what we don't have, right?
That's exactly right, man. That's exactly right. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I think the same.
I'm sitting here like my biggest thing is like I'm not at a spot yet where like I feel like I want to be the coach that nobody thinks works out. Like I still want people to think that I work out when I walk into a room. It's like, okay, that's why they're listening to him, because he might know what he's doing. But
Yeah,
I don't know if I'll ever be ready to do that.
yeah, and it's funny because when you are like in a better shape, people look for you
Yep,
more than
I
when you're.
agree. Yeah. And that's another great reason for doing this cut is like it's going to make some really good social media posts, right? Because I'm trying to show people, I'm going to show people everything, and I'm going to show people how little I can get away with and make a big response. And I think that's going to be really cool,
Are you thinking about to do like are you gonna cycle carbs or are you just doing like okay.
Yep. So I've been cycling carbs for a while. I mean, once I started like getting back to a real structure of things probably like 6 months ago. I've always been eating 4 meals a day since I stopped competing. And then for a while, I was just kind of putting food in a container and eating it. I wasn't weighing it. I was just eyeballing it. And then I was like, all right, well, let me start weighing most of these things. There were some things that I still wouldn't weigh. But now it's like everything is weighed specifically, and I do have a training day and a rest day right now. So I'm carb cycling, but it's in a spot where like I'm in enough of a surplus most of the week where my weight is holding, right?
Uh-huh.
But what I'm going to do is I started my peptides last week, and I'm not going to change food for the first 2 to 3 weeks just to see what the peptides do, and
Uh,
then start to push things, because I'm only doing 12 weeks, so I don't have a ton of time. I'd like to let it sit for like 6 weeks and see how the body responds with no changes to food, but
uh-huh.
I want to get in shape fast. So
Which peptides are you trying?
Retatrutide, AOD, and SLU. So those are the only 3 that I'm running right now.
Uh-huh. Have you think about the MOTSc? Are
Yeah,
you
so I ran it before and I liked it. The one thing I didn't like is how bad it burns. Like the injections are painful,
uh-huh.
and that kind of irritated. The first time I took that shot, I was like, I have an infection. Like it's so
Well,
swollen and so it was bad. I didn't have an infection, but it was just so painful from the injection that it scared me. And I liked MOTSc, but for right now, I wanted to try AOD, and I hadn't tried Retta, so I wanted to try something different. And like maybe as I go along, I'll add some more things in here and there. But is that one you really like right now, MOTSc?
yes, I've been trying with a few athletes like MOTSc and the SLU.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them like combined works really well.
Yep.
So I mean, there's people like prepping that I didn't change the food for like 4 weeks, and I'm sure that's the reason why,
Yep.
because it
It
was the only thing that I changed like from the old prep, like from the last prep to
it's
this.
such a game changer. It really is, because I don't have a single athlete doing more than 40 micrograms of clean. And I think that's a massive win for a bodybuilder, right? Because I think the stimulants is honestly one of the things that is a lot harder on people than people really give credit to, especially
Mhm.
when we start talking about 100 plus micrograms of clean,
Yeah, yeah.
which we both know we've seen.
Uh-huh. Yeah, 100, 120.
Yeah, and
But
you're messing with your heart at that point, and that's a scary thing to do.
but you mean because they're like combining the clean and the SLU, right?
Mhm. Yep. Combining it depends. There's a variety of different. I'm not running everybody's exactly the same. Mostly, honestly, most of the time it's budget, right? Because like if I know a guy has no problem buying things, I'll run him a whole stack. Like I'll run a whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
Um, Usually try not to overlap stuff because we don't want to ramp things up way too much here, right? Like we don't want to overload the mitochondria.
Mhm.
Um, and we just kind of want to like nurture that response. So like I'll give them 3 different types of compounds that all kind of work synergistically. But then there's some people that are just running like one thing or 2 things, because they do get really expensive very quickly, and I want to be mindful.
You can just tell them like this is the first one if you can afford.
Mhm.
This is the
Yep.
second in the whole stack.
Yep, exactly. And that's kind of what I've done. And I like to play around with things because I'm curious to see how different combinations of things react for people, because I want to have a lot of different tools. I want to be able to use multiple different things to see what works best for different people. So,
Yeah. And
um,
that was something like when I was trying to like get back my shape. That's something that I tried before. I
mhm,
got the SLU, I got the MOTSc. I was like, let me try
yep.
myself, especially because we don't have like much research right now, so we gotta try ourselves.
Mhm,
I tried. I feel good. I felt the difference. Then I was like, okay. Then I talked to Garrett, that works out with us. I was like, man, do you want to try? Because he's an
oh
athlete,
yeah.
but he's also a friend.
He's a maniac. He wants to try
Yeah.
everything.
To give you an idea, he was
Big
like,
hair.
okay, I have already. I can try right now. And yeah, so it worked for him. And then I tried like to try with another athletes, and
Yep.
it's a game changer, like you're saying.
Yep. Exactly what I did. Because to be honest, before like I don't know 5 months ago, I wasn't really like a big peptide fan. Like I thought, especially because like my limited scope of what I knew about peptides was like BPC, TB500, and those do work great. I do really like those, but that's for like injuries, right? So it's not something of like, oh, this is going to get us more progress.
Yeah.
So it was those, and then like the GH releasing peptides, and I think those are kind of a waste of money, if I'm being honest. Some of them for like tesamorelin and things like that, I know that there's some applications, but for
Mhm.
GH, it's like just buy GH. Like you're just going to spend the same amount of money anyways.
Yeah.
So going to take a quick break from the podcast to bring a few things to your attention. First off, as I was going through the YouTube analytics, I noticed that almost 70% of my watchers are not subscribed. So if you're watching this right now, please do me a favor and click that subscribe button. Every single time I get a new subscriber, comments, likes, and shares, this helps spread the podcast more, and I really, really appreciate you guys. This podcast has no paid sponsorships, so the best way for you to support my channel is to support my sponsors. So Labrada Pro Series is my supplement sponsor. We have a full line of products with some new ones coming. The pre-workout is on the way right now, and the new Labrada Nutrition RTD pre-workout is about to hit the market as well. On top of Labrada Pro Series, I also have Gasp and Better Bodies, and then I also have Authentic Aminos. Please go support these companies. Use my code Bagley10 for Labrada Pro Series, Bagley15 for Gasp and Better Bodies, and Bagley for Authentic Aminos. Thanks, guys. Let's get back to the podcast. I was just really limited on it. And then Dom started kind of expanding my knowledge on peptides. And that's when I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to start throwing these at people. Let me try them first. Right.
Yeah.
And I ran the gambit. I've tried everything. And like you said, I noticed a response.
Mhm.
That whole time that I was trying them, I didn't move food up or down. I didn't change anything. I kept that exactly the same. The only thing I did was incorporate the peptides because I
Yeah.
wanted to see what it would do in a stagnant environment. And the thing that I noticed is my appetite increased. I started to get leaner without changing food, and I was sweating my ass off. Like those are the three main things that I noticed. Is that kind of similar for you?
Yeah. Same thing. And it's funny, but we get like more motivated as well.
Yeah.
Like, see, we're trying something new, so let me work a little bit harder. So I know that there is like this psychological factor, but it does work because
Yes.
because after trying with us, we try with another people, and it work for them as well. So we gotta have we have the tools. We need to learn how to use them, and we gotta use them because if you keep waiting for the research, we're gonna be 5 years behind.
Yeah, right, for sure. And like obviously we're always going to make sure that we're smart about what we do. Like we're not just going to throw everything at the wall. But
Yeah.
aside from like the physical changes that it makes, there's also a massive difference in people's health and blood markers, like seeing cholesterol improve while taking these things, seeing A1Cs improve, seeing fasted blood sugars improve. Those are three metrics that like kind of haunt bodybuilders, right? Because like if cholesterol gets too bad, now we have to worry about the heart, and it's a kind of difficult thing to get back up, right?
Hmm.
And then if your blood sugar isn't responding well, you're not going to get the response you want for fat loss or muscle building.
Yeah.
So those are some great metrics. Obviously, there's other things we have to pay attention to, but I'm seeing great response there, and that's amazing. Like especially cholesterol, because unless you give somebody a statin, usually putting in regular things like omegas and citrus bergamot and whatever other things you want to go for there will move the needle, but not a ton. But
Yeah.
things like Retatrutide, it's like, holy shit, that moved that cholesterol,
Yeah.
and that's huge. So,
That's why I like Reta that much.
yep,
It's because, I mean, if you start using like supplements, you're gonna have to drop gear as well uh,
right.
to fix the markers. But if you have like Reta in place, you probably you can keep the gear the same
Yeah.
and still have great results. So if you're like trying to have like a high level as a bodybuilder, that's another tool that we better know how to use.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. So, we've talked a lot about peptides already. We didn't even plan to do that, but I've been talking about them a ton with a lot of different people. So I'm sure people listening are like, stop with the peptide talk. But so,
It's impossible.
I wanted to kind of chat with you a little bit about like your history of becoming a coach, because I think this is a perspective that some people would really benefit from, and some a perspective that some probably have never thought about. So you moved here from Brazil, right? With Pam, right?
Yeah,
And
Pam
that was
lived
when.
here. She was living here already.
Okay.
We know her. We know her like in Brazil, each
Hmm.
other, because she was studying like physical education at the university there.
Okay.
and I was like the rookie, so I was like beginning the college, and she was already like studying there. Then I knew her, and after like 3 years, she moved here, and I was working with bodybuilding already. I was
Mhm.
like being a coach in Brazil, uh, and she just asked me like to come to visits, but we were like dating in distance.
Yeah.
It was like a long distance relationship. So I came here for like 4 months, uh, just stay with her.
And when was this? What year was this?
Was 2019.
Okay. And she had already been out here for a couple of years, 3 years before that?
2 or 3 years before that.
Okay,
Yeah,
so she was in the US and then she moved to Texas in 2019.
exactly.
That's
No,
actually when I moved here too, so that's all, like, I
really.
did it's so funny because we've been friends for a long time and I didn't know that.
Yeah, and yeah, because she was thinking about to go back to Brazil. She
Mhm.
didn't plan to stay here for longer. So I was like, okay, let me know, US. Then you go back to Brazil, and you get back with your life in Brazil. So then she decided to stay here, and I was like, okay, so we need to figure out because I mean, I was I was having like a good life in Brazil. I had like close to 80 clients already. I was like more lifestyle. I had
Mhm.
like 10 athletes, but I
Mhm.
was like more lifestyle coach. I was like, man, I'm gonna uh like just say bye to everyone and
Yeah.
start like a new life in US. But I mean, Brazil is growing right now in bodybuilding. Maybe not the way I wanted to because there are some crazy Brazilians, but
There's crazy Americans too, don't worry about
yeah.
that.
And I was like, okay, so maybe I'll try bodybuilding in US. That's like the best place to
Mhm.
live the sport. And I moved here with Pam. Then we started like working out at Destination, and I started coaching with Matt Jansen, and he was like my idol, because I always loved like Nicky Walker.
Right.
Just like as a comparison, in Brazil, we didn't know how to train with progressive overloading yet.
Okay.
In 2020, uh, I was trying to learn, and I was walking with my logbook at the gym, to track my weights, and everybody looked at me like I was crazy. You and it was insane because I was like, man, that's the way the bodybuilders train right now. Everyone tracks their way. Why am I different? You know. So when I started with Matt Jansen, he teach me like everything about the progressive overloading. He said like some videos that I needed to watch, and I always like to study. So I started like to studying the progressive overloading thing, and I was like, man, I just realized that I don't know how to train. So I've been training for like 15 years and I have no idea how to train.
Yep.
And it's funny because there was a day at the gym, like all the famous bodybuilders go there. And this was in 2020. And I saw Derek Lunsford there, and he is like really friendly. And I was talking to him. He asked me because of my accent, where I'm from.
Mhm.
And I said I was from Brazil, and we were talking about training. Uh, and when I told him the way we used to train in Brazil, it was funny because he said, "So Brazilians doesn't know how to train." And I was like, "Yeah, man, I guess we're still learning." So after that, Nick, I kept like studying more training than gear itself.
Right.
But I would say, like, long story short, I in Brazil, I guess I learned how not to do things, you
Sure.
know, especially because I had like a few different coaches there, and it was like 700 train, 700
Oof.
muscle, and 700 tests. That was like the prep stack, you
Jeez.
know. and you gotta use Anavar in Winstrol 4 weeks out. So they knew that you're gonna need like the Winstrol 4 weeks out before you
Right.
get to the 4 weeks out mark.
Gotta love it.
So, yeah. So it was like it was shocking for me, but I was like really open to learn. I wasn't like, oh, I know everything. The Brazilians know how to do like wellness or stuff. Or like, no, man, I need to learn from these guys because they know what they're
Mhm.
doing, and they're doing like in a healthier way.
Yep.
And yeah, man, after that, I just like kept studying, bought a lot of courses here, like to learn the way we need to do things. And we have this like family thing. And when I have like a new client, it's not just an athlete, you
Yep.
know.
Yep.
I end up like having a close relationship to them. And there was a day that was just like, I guess I'll stop with lifestyle and I'll focus on bodybuilding, because if you try to do everything, you won't do
Mhm.
everything really well,
Right.
you know. So Pam got all my lifestyle people, and I started like to focus on more athletes. And yeah, man, it's going well.
What year did you start like really focusing on competitors?
Um,
22, 23.
23, like
Yep.
around like September of 23. So
Yeah,
it's
we've got a lot of similarities there because that was kind of about the same. And like, I think for the most part, a lot of coaches kind of start that way. He's like, you're not going to get athletes that are trying to get on stage, not like really good ones right off the bat, and you have to kind of prove yourself and show that you actually know what you're talking about. So you show some transformation with some lifestyle people, and then somebody with some muscle decides to do something, and you get them really lean, and then it kind of builds on that. So that's about kind of the similar trajectory that I had around 22, 23. I started to pick up some more competitors and stuff. And now we're both pretty well solidified in the Dallas area as two of the main coaches here. So that's good. I like it.
and I don't know if you have this feeling, but I was talking to another coach. It was like a few weeks ago. He's he's like beginning in the beginning of his career, and he asked me, "So, how did you do to start getting like more athletes?" And I don't know if you have this feeling, Nick, but there's always like one person that changes your game.
Hmm.
You can have like 10 athletes, but there is one that once you show results,
Yep.
everyone will look for you.
Yep.
And usually it is like the biggest transformation, because
Hmm.
anyone can get like a great athlete and make better.
Yep.
Um, but if you have one that it's like doesn't have a great genetics, or you do like a crazy transformation, then people know that you know how
Yes.
to do things.
Yep.
And yeah, I had a few, so
Yeah,
I'm
there's a
impressed.
number of it's interesting because it's like there's a number of different styles of people that like get you attention like that, because it's like the one like you said is the person who makes this dramatic transformation that's like a lifestyle to a on stage bodybuilder. Like
Mm,
that's obviously really big, but then you also get the ones where it's like, yeah, this guy's a genetic freak, and like I made him more of a genetic freak, and
yeah,
I had a couple of those. Like in 2023, I had a guy that ended up winning his class at one of the, I don't even remember what show it was, but when he came to me, like in 6 weeks, I transformed him and got him shredded for the show, and he won his class. And that was like one of the first times that people started to recognize, like, oh, Nick can put people on stage. And then of course now Blake was one of the first people that came to me that like was really help put me on the map. So I'm very grateful for him as a client, and he's made huge changes on a physique that was already really crazy. And then
yeah,
Chase, and now this kid Sam, and like so it just kind of grows that way where it's like you start to get a little bit more and more, and people realize like, oh, you can handle a wide variety of different types of people. And I
yeah,
think the hardest one for I'm sure you'll agree with this to crack into is like the big boys, right? Like getting to work with like a super heavyweight bodybuilder or like a big bodybuilder or something like that. It's difficult because they need to see that you've worked with a big person first.
yeah. I had the feeling like if you know how to work with the big boys, you probably know how to work with anybody else,
Hmm.
because they're like the Formula One.
Right.
And if you can drive that car, man, you can drive
Any car.
any car.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. That's a
yeah,
great analogy for sure.
yeah. And I mean, even if you get like a freak guy for 6 weeks, even he being like a genetic freak for 6 weeks, it shows that the coaches work.
Right.
Because a genetic freak like in 12, 15 weeks, okay, a regular coach can do, but 6 weeks it shows that it was you, you
Yeah.
know.
In
It,
6 weeks, you don't have time to fuck around. It's like, let's get a response right now. And like the change that you make is immediate, right?
yeah.
Especially when somebody's hitting on all cylinders. Now, with that transition from coming from Brazil to here and trying to pick up clients in the US, I know you've talked about like the language barrier and stuff before, but what's been some of the hardest parts of trying to build here in the US?
uh, I would say that the language was like pretty hard,
Yeah.
especially because when I moved here I was like 32. And when you have to learn a new language after 30s, it's pretty hard, man. So,
I'm
and
still trying to learn how to speak English at 32, man.
I, I'm still trying to learn how to speak Portuguese too. And so that was like the hardest part, especially because I'm shy, and I don't talk to everyone
Right.
like Pam. She talks to everyone easy.
Yes. Yes, she
And,
does.
and I don't like to talk that much. I don't like to talk about like things that I don't know. So I was like for 2 years at the gym, not 2 years, but maybe the first like year and a half, I didn't have any friends. I was
Yep.
like always training, doing my stuff, uh, getting paid from in Brazilian currency. That's like nothing in dollars. Like $1 is R$ 5. That's our currency in Brazil.
Mm,
So everything, every money that I was making in Brazil, when I transferred here, was like 5 times less.
jeez.
So yeah, and sometimes that was something that was bothering me because I was like getting my money here, and I thought, man, this money in Brazil will be 5 times more.
Yeah.
I could have a better life there.
Yep.
But something in my mind was telling me that I needed to keep working, but I needed to do better in some area, and to learn how to speak English, and to have more American clients. It was like the key for me because I had some people paying me like in dollars, but it was Brazilians. It was like Brazilians who live
Right.
here.
Right.
And yeah, that's something that I own. Like James, do you know James
Yeah.
from the gym?
Yep.
Uh, I guess he was my first American client, and he was like a
Mm,
close friend. And he was what we just said, like 6 weeks. I got him like after one show, and he had another show in 4 or 6 weeks.
mm, yep.
And his condition in his first show wasn't good, so he was like eating nothing, doing a lot of cardio, and he wasn't in shape. So that's a crazy work to do
Yeah.
because it's not in the best spot to keep
Yeah.
getting in. And for it was your show. He competed with you. Remember that you
Oh
did
yeah.
the overall together? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So it was like between the time frame, he changed it a lot,
Yes.
and then everyone saw what I did to James. Then I started having like more American athletes. So James was like the game changer for me uh, in US.
Yep. And you also have your wife who you coach, who's a wellness pro, like, and you turned her pro. You have your sister, correct, who is already competing in bikini in Brazil, right?
Yeah,
And then once both of them started competing here in the US and winning, I think that was also a big key point for you of like starting to pick up people here
yeah.
because they didn't care that you were Brazilian. They cared that you got results and that you cared about them. Right. And
Mm,
I think that's like a huge aspect of this is like, obviously you and I are pretty close friends and I know a lot of your clients personally and every single one of them has nothing but amazing things to say about you, just like the rest of us do. You know, we all love you to death. So I think that's one of the biggest testaments to why you've been able to be so successful in a
Mhm.
place where most people who don't speak the language would probably struggle, right?
Yeah.
Because of what you pour into them.
And you have a great point there, Nick, because I don't know if there's another like uh, no Americans watching, but that's another barrier that I needed to break
Mm.
when I moved here, because not speaking the language, it was something that really bothered me. Because in Brazil, that's like a difference in cultures. But in
Mhm.
Brazil, if you don't know how to speak Portuguese, people make fun of you. You know, yeah. That and this is not like one or two people. That's like everyone. If if you say something wrong, people make fun of you and they call everyone. So he just said that way, and everyone laughs. So when I moved here, that was something that was like my barrier, because I didn't want
Sure.
to speak English because I was afraid of people making fun of me.
Right.
And nobody wants that.
No, definitely not.
And that's something that I noticed, like the Americans, they don't do that. Maybe there are like a few people who does that, but it's not everyone. uh,
Right.
it's like the opposite. Like if you're trying to say something, they usually help you.
Yeah.
And sometimes they like correct you in like a healthier way.
Yeah.
So sometimes I say something. I was talking to an athlete, and I wanted him to eat like omelette for breakfast.
Oatmeal?
No, omelette, like
Omelet. Oh, okay. Okay. I got it. Got it.
you
Okay.
you just did it because I don't know how to say,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah. Yeah.
correct me without knowing that you were, so
Yeah.
it's like omelette. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Omelet. Yeah. Same thing. I mean, but I got to it.
yeah, this happens a lot.
That's all good, man. To be honest with you, I mean, your English like rarely have to like be like, what did you say? Like, I rarely have to do that anymore. I mean, certainly like earlier on, there was definitely times where I was like, what was it? What was
Yeah,
that? And it we always just pick on Pam. We always like to joke with her when she says things. It's like, try that one
she,
again.
she's the champion of the accent contest.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
But no, I mean, I think you're at a spot now where like people don't even think about it anymore. Like, obviously, if they first meet you, it might be a little difficult for them to understand. But like with time, they all they're looking for is results, and you've been able to do that, and on top of getting results, you've also built a community, right? Which I think is probably one of the most important aspects here is like the people who you have been able to work with help spread, hey, look, yeah, he might be Brazilian and might not be able to say exactly what you're trying to get him to say or whatever, but he does good work and cares about us. And
yeah,
that speaks and spreads your name way faster than any type of marketing you can do online.
yeah. I have the feeling that we build like a family here.
Yep.
If you look at the shows, like all the whole team is like together. Everyone's like trying to help each other. And Nick, this wasn't me. It wasn't something that I tried to force. I just believe in the law of attraction.
Yep.
That's how I
Sure.
say. Yeah. So I just think like good people attracts good people, and everyone is always like helping each other. I sometimes I get like a feedback of an athlete, and they say, "So I was talking to other athlete, and she told me that it was better to talk to you about that, so that's why I'm bringing this up." So they are always like helping each other and helping me as a coach as well. So that wasn't me, that's all them.
Yeah. Yeah, but it is you, right? Because like those people wouldn't help you build it if you weren't fostering that. If you weren't encouraging that and telling people like, "Hey, look, we need to rely on each other," right? And that's one of the things that I always tell my athletes as well is like I have a team Discord where everybody is together. It's like go talk to your teammates, become friends with them because like sure you have your family and your other group of friends and whatnot, but like how many of them know what you're doing? How many of them understand it? And or how many of them are just like, oh, that's great, good job, buddy. And
Yeah,
then they're behind your back going, he didn't eat pizza. It's like it's that kind of thing. So it's like you got to have people that you can talk to that relate to what you're doing. And I think for anybody, whether you're in your country of origin trying to build a business or in a different country of origin, like creating connections to people is what's going to ultimately help you build anything that you want to build. Right?
Yeah,
People don't just buy your information, they're buying you. They are buying time with you because they trust you, they know you can get a response and that you care about them, right? And that's a very common theme here, you know.
yeah. Like speaking about coaches, that's something that I see a lot. I know a lot of coaches that know so much. Like they're much smarter than me. They're much more intelligent than me, but they don't know how to deal with people.
Mhm.
uh, all your knowledge doesn't work. So you gotta people needs people, right? So you
Agreed.
gotta know how to deal with people. And I would say that's for coaching that needs to be like a priority. You know, you need to have this like in the first place, because if you know what to do but you don't know how to ask, so you need to stop having cheat meals. But if you don't know how to ask them, they
Yep.
won't follow,
Yep,
So
exactly. It's one of those things that like I honestly had to really learn it because like you know how I communicate. Like I'm very direct and like in person you can tell that I'm not meaning it in a bad way because
Mhm,
you hear my inflection and you hear my tone of voice and the conversation is weaving in a manner where it's like I'm not shitting on you. I'm just giving you criticism or I'm
mm,
just answering the question that you asked. Right? It's the thing that I always tell people is like if you don't want the real answer, don't ask me. You know,
mm,
like so, and I had to learn how to change that, right? Because I do need to be direct with my athletes and I do need to make sure that I am telling them what they need to hear in order to move forward, but it needs to be in a manner where they don't feel like shit about themselves.
yeah,
Because if they start to feel like shit about themselves, then their physique is going to go to shit too, right? Because this controls everything.
yeah.
Right. So learning that over the last few years has been a big change in my ability to communicate and ability to keep athletes, not just finding new ones and recycling them.
And I would say, Nick, like as a close friend, I have the feeling that that was like the main thing that made you grow so much, because like the Nick that I know like 3 years ago wouldn't have the success that you have as coach,
Well,
you
thank you,
know,
man.
because
I
you change
appreciate
a
that.
lot and you change for better. So I give you that, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of things that add up to that 3 year timeline. Is like that's around when Brittany came into my life. That's when I started like getting away from competing. That's when like my son was starting to get older, that kind of thing, and just shifting more into the coaching role versus like trying to be an athlete who also coaches. You know,
Yeah.
which is kind of what I was doing earlier in my career.
And I guess like the mentorship and how much you study it too,
Yeah,
because I saw you studying a
yeah.
lot over the last year. So we gotta do our homework.
Yeah, I mean, like people are going to get tired of me hearing me talk about him, but Dom Kuza has changed everything about my coaching. Like not just from a knowledge standpoint, but from an application standpoint and from like a client nurturing standpoint. Like Dom is very good at communicating and handling people, and a lot of that has rubbed off on me. You know, and like I've worked with other mentors and I've done other mentorship programs and stuff. I am not a student. I am not a good like sit down and watch a PowerPoint and learn everything kind of guy. Like if I just sit down and read a book, all of that's going to go in one ear and right out the other. I have to have things delivered to me in a manner that I can apply it. And that's what Dom figured out very quickly with me. And he realized like, yeah, cool, we can go through all these PowerPoints and we will, but let's make sure that we're applying it to things as well so that we can make this stuff stick, you
So
know, and like
it's more like case of study
right,
that you discuss with him. Yeah,
right, exactly. And
that's
like
a
i'm
great thing.
not i'm not the guy that can regurgitate all this information. Like I don't have a picture perfect memory of like, hey, how does this product work, and I can't give you everything right away. It's like I'm going to have to go back and look at the exact specifics, but I know what the initial, I know what the response is we're going to get from it,
Yeah.
right, and I
Especially
know how it affects the body, right.
because you can get the idea. Like if you learn something that you some coach did to an athlete, you can get the idea behind it and
Mm-hmm.
apply to any other athletes that you have. That's
It's just knowing how what responds to what, like how do these things interact, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that I need to know every single in and out of how it works as soon as you take it, right?
uh,
But I need to know what the end result is. That's my main focus: is how does this shit work and what are we getting from it?
uh, that's great. I
But
mean, the blueprint. It's my number one next
Oh, you
buying.
got signed up?
No,
Oh, you're
I
going to. I got
yeah,
you.
it's my number one going to buy.
Yeah. I mean, it's great. Like Dom's done an awesome job with that whole site, and he's crushing it right now. He's got a lot of people signing up for it. I think he's got over 100 people in that app now. So,
That's
um,
great.
yeah, it's really solid. But um, now with where you're at in your coaching career, it's very much seems like at this point your marketing is kind of done for you. You're at a spot where it's like with the results that you're putting on stage, you're just picking up more and more athletes. And I've also seen that like you work with a lot of females, so you have a lot of like bikini wellness and figure girls. Is that kind of a pretty accurate?
Yeah, I would say like 70% of my athletes are females,
Hmm.
in 30 are like men's. It wasn't something that I was like planning,
Right.
it just happened. Probably because like my first athlete was my sister,
Hmm.
so she's bikini, and all the bikinis saw the transformation with her. And then I had Pam, that's wellness, and Pam had like a crazy transformation,
Hmm.
and she turned pro. So I got a few wellness because of her. Then I had like Lexi,
Yep.
that's a figure that I got like from the stretch. And
Hmm.
she turned pro like in 1 year. That's insane. Like
Crazy.
2 shows from like being a buff girl.
Yeah.
And she turned pro in 2 shows. So more figures coming. But I like to work with guys, you
Yeah.
know, and like these next weeks, I have a few big boys competing, and I have the feeling that after them, next year will be different.
Yep.
But I got to a point, Nick, where I'm pretty close to my um cap, like my seal.
Of how many clients?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say like another 8. I should stop
Yep.
getting new clients because I don't want to have like all of them. I want to have the best ones with me that has like this teamwork culture. I
Yep.
don't want to get like clients who can mess up with this teamwork that we have, like this family mentality that we have.
Yep.
So I'm trying to be a little picky here
Yep. As you
because
should, and that's a great place to be in, is when you can be picky with who you bring on. You don't have to bring everyone on. And, as you've built this thing, like you said, you didn't choose to work with a lot of females, but because of the results that you were given and the people that you were given during that time, that's what happened. But then
Mhm.
off the backs of that, you can start building and do the exact same thing with guys. Is like once you put some of these bigger guys on stage, like some of the ones that come to mind is Garrett is doing something here soon, and then I know Spoon's going to do something before long. So like both of those guys, I know you'll nail them. So once you do that, like it's just going to start to build. So I'm really excited to see what you do as far as that. And I know that you've rebooted up indie team, and I'm really excited to see kind of what you do with that. Once you've hit that cap, are you looking to, like, I know Pam does some coaching and stuff too. Are you looking to like expand the coaching team? Like, what are your thoughts as far as that's
Yeah.
concerned?
Once I get like to that cap, I gonna bring like one or two coaches to work with me. I'm already like talking to them and get them ready
Hmm.
because this will happen like soon, I hope. And yeah, I'll probably have like another 2 people to working with me, so we can keep like progressing, helping more people, because I have the feeling that this sport is all about helping people,
Yep.
and I want to make the sport better,
I agree.
because the bodybuilding like changed my life. So I wanna give back what it gave to me. So if I can bring like great people to the sport, that's my goal. So sometimes like someone say, "Hey Neto, thank you for bringing me to the stage," and I usually say, "Thank you for helping me like to do that," because I had the feeling that I'm paying like my doubt with
Yeah.
bodybuilding, bringing great people to the stage. So
Yep.
that's my main goal.
Yep, I feel the same way when people are like, "Oh, thank you so much, Nick." It's like, what do you mean, thank me? Thank you for allowing me to be able to sit at home and make money. Like, what are you talking about? This is great. So
Yeah.
it's always great when anybody gives me an opportunity. Um, oh man, I had a question and I lost it. Yep, there it went.
It
um,
was
uh,
about the team or about the,
yes, thank you. It's interesting because, like you said, there any coach who is not just in this for the money understands that there's a limit to how many people they can handle, right? Which unfortunately also caps how much money you can make, right? There's a lot of money that can be made, and I know that, like, with what you're charging, how many people you have, you're doing well for yourself, right? But the goal is to always try and do more. And, like, I don't necessarily want to coach forever, so I'd like to be able to have a stash that I can build something else, right?
Mhm.
So the the team thing has always been something that I've kind of I'm in and out on, right? Because we've both experienced some things, right? Is what I'll say. And every team starts from that same aspect of, like, oh, well, we're not going to be able to keep bringing on athletes, let's bring on other coaches. And it starts as that, but then it grows into something a lot different, right? In some cases. So I'm kind of in that same boat with you of, like, I want to cap this here at some point, and I don't want to just have to keep taking on more athletes. So at some point, I'd like to do something that's not reliant on just my time, and the team is definitely a smart way to go there. But I think your idea of making it something where you can foster other people who are trying to do the same thing that you did, I think that is the root of, like, how you make a team that is actually genuinely good,
yeah, because my idea of team, it's not for me to make more money, you know.
Right.
Like I said, I want to help people. That's why, like, the two coaches that I'm talking uh, are people who are part of my family. So I want them to succeed. You
Yep.
know, I mean, if I see them succeeding, for me, it's good enough.
Yep.
And we can make the team bigger. We can help more people, and everyone gets happier. But I got her point, because we have like this limit of money. Like, if you can have like 50 clients, that's what you can have. So you won't make more money on it, but you can expand like your mark, your
Mhm.
name. You can have like some workshops here and there. So you can definitely like make more money in not having coaching in number of people as like the main thing.
Right.
Because I see like some people counting like heads when you have to count hearts. It's not about, oh, I have that many heads under my under my team. So that's not the way, man.
Yep. No, I completely agree, dude. And I think sometimes with the coaching teams, it starts to become an ego thing where people are like, look how many coaches I have on my team, and like that, like you said, you're counting heads, and it makes you sound fancy. It makes you sound like you're important because you have a number of people working under you. When the
Yeah.
reality is like, are you taking care of those people, or are you just using those people as a sponge for you to make money?
Mm.
And I think the thought that comes to mind with the coaching team there is, like, if I was to ever expand it to where I had other coaches with me, I would want to do it to where you eventually step away and build your own team, and you're no longer like just working under me forever. Like,
Mm.
and like, if they want to, that's great, and I'm fine with that. But I think it'd be a great way to kind of foster people into being able to build a bigger business, who want to coach but don't just really know what they're doing yet. So
Yeah.
I think that's a better way to handle it.
Yeah. So you mean like, if you ever get to this point, you want to get a coach, teach him, and if he wants to leave, he just leaves and builds his own. Yeah.
Yep. And
There.
I think that's how we should handle people, like lifestyle clients, right? Like, I want to teach my lifestyle clients how to do this without me at some point, right?
Mhm.
If I've done that, I've coached them well.
Yeah. 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 I mean, we're here to help and teach people.
Right.
So as like a coach with a lot of knowledge, if you can spread the knowledge, and this person helps more
Mhm.
people and build like more team, make the bodybuilding bigger, why not? I understand your point.
Yep. Yeah, and we're definitely in a place in time within our industry where I think it's important to make sure that we're fostering the next generation of coaches,
Yeah.
right? And there's a lot of people who are more well established than you and I who are doing that already. like Dom, for example, and like Austin Stout's a good mentor. Like there's a number of different people who are mentoring people to do this thing well,
Yeah.
because there's so many young people realizing that you can make money from home that think that coaching is just a way to make money, and then they're just putting out shit advice that is good for engagement on social media,
Yeah.
which then allows them to collect clients. But then you and I end up getting those clients at some point and they're completely fucked up
You have to
because
fix them. Yeah.
exactly. So I think it's a great idea of like, let's foster the next generation of athletes by showing them that this is what real coaching is. But let's also foster the next generation of coaches by showing them how to take care of people and how to keep people healthy in a sport that is pretty
Mhm.
unhealthy.
Yeah. Because that's the way, in my opinion, that's the way of coach.
Yep.
I mean, you want the results, but healthy has to comes first.
Hmm.
You cannot have the results before you're healthy, because we are tired to see people dying
Yes.
in this sport, doing
Completely.
crazy things. I just had a conversation with a bikini athlete. Uh, she's 10 weeks post show, and she just gained like 4 pounds. And I was talking to her, so because she doesn't want to, she wants to be lean and to keep like the condition. It's just like a bikini thing, like a girl
Hmm.
thing. And
Yep.
I told her, so do you wanna stay lean, or do you wanna be a better athlete, a national level like bikini athlete? Because if you wanna grow, you gotta grow.
Yep.
It'll be impossible to keep your condition. And she asked me, so can I just grow keeping my condition? And I told her, so you cannot. And she told me, it's because I see on Instagram some people who grow keeping the condition. So I would like to be one of these people. Then I was like completely honest with her. I told her, so I don't know how to do that. Or if I do, your health doesn't worth the price. So I won't do that to you. So if you want to stay like under 110 pounds and still grow, you better find another person to do that,
Yep.
because I won't follow this way of work. I won't
Mm-mm.
smash your health because I cannot sleep at night.
Agreed.
Uh,
And the thing is like people like social media sucks in a lot of ways. It's great, but it sucks because, like you said there, she saw someone online who she supposes stays lean and grows. But
mhm,
most of the time, when you have an athlete like that who grows and stays lean, it's not something that we're doing. It's just their body. It's just how things go. Like, look at Chase and look at Blake. Both of those guys are putting on size right now and still very, very lean. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm trying to make them fat. You should see how much they're eating. Like, I'm trying to get fat on them, but their body, this is what it looks like.
mhm,
So I that her saying I want to be this person is like, sorry, if your genetic makeup is not built for that, and you're 110 pounds, you don't have enough muscle to do that. Like, a lot of that is because these guys have matured muscle, you know? And
yeah.
it's I'm honestly grateful that I don't deal with that a lot because I don't have as many females. I'm kind of the opposite. I'm more like 70 male, 30% female, so I don't
Mhm,
have to deal with that too often. But yeah, I
yeah.
think you handled that perfectly, and I think more people need to tell people when they don't know how to do something. You know.
Mhm, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty tough, especially because you cannot follow with these people on Instagram do. Like, if you follow, I mean, if I follow Blake's diet, I I will be fat in like 2 weeks, probably.
Same.
Yeah. So if he can do, he can do. Just watching, and have
Yep.
fun
Exactly.
watching. Yeah,
Yeah, so anybody else's journey is not yours. You have to run your own race, and look, if you're going to get big, you need to understand that, like, yeah, we're not going to let you get sloppy. We're not going to let you get gross. We're still going to keep some level of condition. My goal is to keep you as conditioned as possible while putting on size,
yeah,
but to a healthy standard. I'm not going to keep you at 4% body fat while trying to
yeah,
put size on you.
yeah. You don't want to make people fat while you grow, but sometimes you gotta be a little bit fatter, and
Yep.
that's fine. It's
Hmm.
still like like you still look better than 70% of people.
Exactly. It's all in your head. But, we're coming up on that hour here, and I think we've kind of covered a lot of the topics I wanted to touch on. So we'll start to wrap up here. Where can people find you on social media, man?
Instagram at Neto Donati with double T and I. And that's all. I just have Instagram. I'm not that like a, a influencer guy.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I just have Instagram, and then obviously the podcast with YouTube, but all I post on is Instagram. But for anyone who is looking for a coach, Neto is awesome. I can tell you he will take care of you. I can speak to that very personally with all the people that I know that he works with. So awesome coach here. Him and his wife are some of the best people that I know. So make sure you guys go check them out, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Thank you so much, Nick.
Yes, thank you, Neto.